How's it going, all you beautiful people? I want to talk a little bit of the current Pokemon market. And for those of you that want MSRP products, unfortunately, I don't think that we're going to see MSRP for a lot of Pokemon products across the board. I do think that there's some collection boxes that could hit MSRP, but for the most part, I think most products across the board, we're probably not going to see MSRP for them for at least the near future. And to me, it didn't really matter whether whether a product would hit MSRP or not because to me, I kind of believe in Pokemon in the long term. So whether a box is $50 now or $40 or $80, it doesn't really matter to me because I kind of just look at the Pokemon landscape and think that in 2, 3, 4 years from now, to me personally, it doesn't really matter what you buy. I think a lot of products will go up over time because they'll go out of print. There won't be as many printed in 2 years from now. For example, if you have prismatic evolutions in 2 years, it should go out of print. So there will be less prismatic evolutions out there since you'll only be able to get it if someone has it for themselves and hasn't opened it. So to me, it doesn't really matter. I think that Pokemon, I believe in it long term. I do know that there is always a risk that Pokemon can crash, that the demand can die, that people will leave the hobby, that prices across the board can drop to substantial amounts. But to me, I'll take those odds. I'll take the odd that a product that's been around for 30 years will continue to grow, will continue to have popularity. But going back to the present day, if you look at certain Pokemon products today, I think it's showing signs that the Pokemon overall market could see a huge bump in prices, just like we saw last year. And I know that a lot of people speak on feelings, a lot of people will speak on what they want. But to me, I kind of just look at some products, look at the prices of them, and see how they're going. So these were four things that stood out to me. Four products, and they're from two different sets, so let's go through them. So the Prismatic Booster Bundle. Pokemon's loved prismatic evolutions. I feel like Pokemon has printed so much prismatic evolutions. I feel like every single time they have a restock, let's say they're restocking Mega Evolution, they're like, oh, we need a prismatic evolution reprint with this. Last year, I feel like they printed prismatic evolutions the most. But with that, if you look at the prismatic evolutions booster bundle, 6 months ago, it was $67. And then there was kind of a dip. It stayed kind of low. And if you look at this chart, it's at a 6 month high now. So it was down for about 6 months. And now, as you can see, the line's kind of going upwards now. And if you look at the last couple sold, it's 70, 67, 67, 67, 67, 67, 67. There's a lot of sold for 67. And today, the lowest listing is 67. So I would assume that the price of a prismatic booster bundle is around $67 right now, which is what it was 6 months ago. But if you look at the graph, there was a big drop from 67. There was like a plateau, and then now we're seeing it rise up again. And if you look at the volume sold too, there were 46 sold today so far, at least when I checked. 66 sold yesterday, and 95 sold 2 days ago. And this is just on TCG Player. So if you go on eBay, there'll probably be more. There'll be more sales in person at card shows, things of that sort. But this is just TCG Player. So there is high volume to this as well. You go to Prismatic Evolutions ETB. 6 months ago, it was $103. If you look today, there's some damage boxes that were listed, but damage boxes typically don't go for as much as perfectly sealed, no damage to the boxes or sealed. But the lowest listing non-damaged box is $141. And this is a 6-month high. And if you look at the graph, it kind of looks like the lines are, you'll see this between these four products are just like starting to go up. The last 5 sold, 141, 141, 141, 141, 150. So there is volume being sold. There's a lot of things being sold at 141. So I would say today's price is around $141. I think that's a fair dollar amount. And with the prismatic ETBs too, 27 were sold today, 19 sold yesterday, and 22 were sold 2 days ago. So there's some volume to this. Not as much as booster bundles because I think there is a premium to ETB, so a lot of ETB buyers want to buy the ETB to maybe store away, just because two booster bundles is cheaper than one ETB for Prismatic, but two booster bundles are cheaper than one ETB. So, and the promo inside the Prismatic Evolutions box is only $10 right now. It's one of my favorite cards, by the way, the Eevee promo card. But yeah, I mean, a PSA 10 goes for a lot more, but I think ETB just hold a premium. You'll definitely see that in this next two products that I'm going to talk about. The next one is the 151 booster bundle. And with 151, I watch a lot of videos online, I read a lot of articles, and there was a point where everyone was saying, don't buy 151. 151 will get its reprint. It'll reprint like crazy and prices will go down. Well, if you look at the chart, 6 months ago, it was about $72. The lowest listing today on TCG Player, $117. It's at a 6-month high, and the last 5 sold 120, 105, 110, 116, 116. And selling rate wise, there was 8 sold today, 43 sold yesterday, and 26 sold 2 days ago. So there's decent volume to this too. I mean, not as much as the Prismatic Booster Bundles, but I think it's because the price point of this is a bit higher than the Prismatic Booster Bundle. It's around $117, whereas the Prismatic Booster Bundle is about half of that. You go to 151 ETB, 6 months ago, it was $298. Today, the lowest listing is $435. Again, this is another 6-month high. And if you look at the graph, it's another line that you're starting to see go upwards. And the last 5 sold 430, 443, 453, 430, and 445. Selling wise, there's not as many of this sold on TCG Player. Two are sold today, 1 was sold yesterday, and 2 were sold 2 days ago. I think this is because, one, as you go to the $400 range, there's less buyers. There's not as many people that are going to want to buy a $400 product versus a $67 Prismatic Booster Bundle. So that probably goes into play. But looking at these 4 products, and if you pick a lot of products across the board, this is kind of how it looks. 6 months ago, it was here. It goes down. And then for about 6 months, there'll be like some up and down, but it'll stay kind of, there'll be this line where you're seeing lower than 6 months ago. I mean, it goes up and down a little bit. And then now you're starting to see the prices go back up. And a lot of products are starting to be shown like this, where you're starting to see this, there was a plateau for a little bit, and then there's starting to be a price increase. And because of this, I think that Pokemon might be ready to take off. And I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear, but I'm just basing this off the data that I see from different products and just like the overall sentiment. I think a lot of people are excited to buy boxes again, excited to rip. I've been opening streams and ripping shippers, and these ribbon shippers are selling packs, way more packs than they were 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. And I don't know, maybe it's just a gut feeling, but I've heard some numbers of streamers too saying they've sold X amount of packs this past week. And I can kind of feel like people are coming back in, like having that excitement again. And I think with Ascended Heroes coming out and with only the tech sticker collection with 3 packs coming out, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen to the market. I don't know what's going to happen to Ascended Heroes. I'm not going to have any Ascended Heroes at launch and opening because I wasn't able to secure any. I don't want to buy it on the open market because prices for single packs are going to be insane. I don't think anyone should unless you just want to open a pack or 2 for fun, but I think that there will be more Ascended Hero products as the waves go on. But overall, I think just looking at these 4 products, looking at the overall market, I do think that the Pokemon market is going to start to see a price increase across the board. I don't know how fast the prices are going to increase, but knowing Pokemon, knowing how it was last year, 2 years ago, it could go up fast. So I'm not saying to pick up anything. I'm just observing the market and seeing what's happening. But let me know what you think. I think talking about the Pokemon market is very controversial. Everyone has different thoughts. Everyone wants different things. Some people want MSRP. Some people want Pokemon prices to go up because they have a big collection. But what do you think? What do you think is going to happen to the Pokemon market this year, at least to start the year in February and March, and then the rest of the year? versus what do you want to happen to the Pokemon market? Do you want prices to go lower? Do you want prices to stabilize? Do you want prices to go higher? Let me know in the comments. But I really appreciate you watching up to this point. And if you've watched up to this point, I would really appreciate it if you gave me a like, if you subscribe to my YouTube, follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and just supported me in any way. Even just watching the video really supports me. And yeah, I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.